Okay, hello, Rank Carcass here. Yeah, that's perfect timing. Anyway, I am doing a video with corrections, so I'm going to correct one that nobody else has commented on yet. But, man, do you have to show up and get in the way? Anyway, these cats are just whatever. Anyway, I had incorrectly stated in my previous video, I can't remember which one, that if Russia signs the Pact, that it will not, I gotta move now, it will not align any adjacent zones, including Romania, which the cat's now laying on, East Poland, anything that was part of this pact here that I have shown here, or say Kars or Azerbaijan or Tehran. So if Italy attacks or Germany attacks and possesses anything next to Russia, it gets an additional D12 peacetime bonus income roll, regardless of how or when, to add to its wartime income. So that still applies regardless of whether it signs this pact. Now that the cat's moved, I can show Romania, for example. It won't get it if Bulgaria gets possessed, but if Romania gets possessed by the Germans or annexed or whatever, if there's a German roundel here, it's adjacent to Russian territory, so the Russians will roll an additional D12 in income. All right, and I had mentioned that does not happen, but that is incorrect. The pact does not nullify that bonus income for the Russians because, yeah, don't matter who it is, if somebody's building up on your border, you're probably going to start building your army a little more. All right, and that is that for this. I will now do another video with some corrections that others have commented on. And I think I'll just put them together and we'll see what happens. Anyway, Rank Carcass shutting her down here, and I will see you in the next video. Okay, hello again. This is Rank Carcass. This is basically a correction video. I only have the map here temporarily on the cover of my game because I'm in the middle of playing a Global 40 game with a bunch of friends and we didn't finish it, so it's covered up. And yeah, so there's that. That's why the setup is so sparse here. I just watched that first Russian strategy video I had there, the early Russian strategy, and I had a couple comments on that video, one about Russian guards, so I'm gonna describe that. So I basically set up the units. I watched the video and saw what units I had and how many losses I had, and I set them up. But we can just roll that again, whatever. Yeah, I'll figure that out as we go here. And I'm using the gray guys as the neutrals, the light gray, for this setup. Because, yeah, this is just set up on top of another game that's in progress, so it's temporary. And, of course, I just got my cat trying to get a pet on here, so all my stuff got knocked over, but we'll correct that. All right, he's pulling. There we go. There we go. All right. Okay. So, let me see. I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong, and if that's the case, I apologize. Please correct me. Same with any comments you make. If there's a correction that needs to be done, I will do a video like this to show my corrections here. That way, anybody else who happens to have the same question, hopefully we can answer the question for everybody. Alright, so now let's go with the quick comment I got here from Elwood Bergden. Hopefully I got that right. He's stated that I did the Molotov Ribbentrop movement into Baltic states incorrectly, and he is correct. And also incorrectly into Lubesk in East Poland. And he was also correct. I made a mistake there. So I couldn't find anything in writing anywhere until I went to the globalwargame.com, which is historical board gaming's question and answer FAQ. And in there's an FAQ or Global War FAQ page where you can ask questions and of the people that make this game, and they will typically give you an answer. It might not be immediately, but you know what? People have real lives, and the game isn't the whole thing for it, so it's a part-time job. And yeah, so let's go over the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact first, and then I will go over a comment I got from Chris Atkins regarding the Russian Guards. Because yes, you are correct, I did not roll for them, so we might as well just put both things here in one quick video. This one should be relatively quick. Alright, so first things first. If you look in the rules on page 63 of version 1.2, under section 14, Pacts and Treaties, Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, Treaty of non-aggression between Germany and Soviet Socialist republics, and their secret additional protocol, as well as the German-Soviet trade agreement. This set of agreements may go into effect July 1939 or later, if the German and Soviet players agree verbally. Alright. Well, let's just go over this here in the rule book. What I suggest for you, if you got, I mean, the German and the Russian player usually sit together, but you can print off this handy little sheet here. It's basically just a brief. I mean, if you want to get people to sign it, you can do that too. Print off 100 of them, but we just keep using the same one. And this way, if they want to, they can pass it back and forth. As you can see, this thing's been around for a while. It's got basically everything that's in the rule book all printed out on one or two pages, nice and neat. Yeah. So you can either give each of those guys one copy of it, or have just one copy that they can share. Alright, so the Pact provisions. Alright, so let's go over this sheet here. Alright, so basically the one is non-aggression. That's section 1. Germany and USSR agree not to declare war on the other. This does not prevent them from doing so later in the game. They just say, hey, we agree not to fight, but they can break this pact whenever they want. Both sides, either side. Sphere of influence. This would be section 2 on that sheet. USSR may combat move units into each of the Baltic states and place a Soviet roundel there. No combat occurs. Remove all Baltic states military units from the game. See, and that's the mistake. I was using this little sheet, but if you actually use in the rule book, it describes it in more detail. So the Baltic states are these ones here: Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. So let's just say the Russians use an airborne. This guy walks in. That guy walks in. Remove these dudes. Throw down a roundel. There you go. It's only worth $1 to you, but it's a section of a victory condition. Right? You got that $1 there. Alright. So that's Section A, the Baltic States. Section B, the USSR may combat move into East Poland and Lubelski, place a Soviet roundel in each after Germany occupies Warsaw. Alright, so regardless of Polish alignment to Britain, combat occurs with any Polish forces present. See, and that's in that video I said I can't remember if you fight them or not, so if I'm wrong, correct me. There you go. You move these guys in here. You move these guys in here. Nobody's here now, but should there have been, you would have to fight them. This guy's here, you're going to have to fight him. Alright, so that's East Poland. This guy would be British after Warsaw fell, but regardless of the fact that it's aligned to Britain, this is not a declaration of war by Russia on Britain, and is a special case where Russia is allowed to attack British units, and these will probably have British roundels on them as well, but it doesn't count for an active war on the British or the other allies. So it is the one exception to the rule where Russia may attack British forces without being at war with them. All right. And yes, specifically, combat does occur with any Polish forces present. There we go. C. The USSR may invade Viperi in Finland. Germany may not control or align Finland until Germany is at war with USSR. And the USSR may not attack other zones in Finland. All right. So, what do we got here? This is Viperi. In the last video I showed you attacking here. So these are the troops I used to attack last time. And there are 3 elite infantry in here. So you're allowed to attack here, and you have the Mannerheim line. The rules don't state specifically what border it's on, but I went searching for documentaries to figure it out. And this was pretty much wilderness up here for the most part, the border. There were a couple of minor skirmishes across that, but think of it more like, this is like, what is it? Most people have seen stuff about Alaska or Northwest Territories in Canada or something. It's pretty much, it's maybe not the same as Siberia, but she's pretty far north, pretty remote, not a lot of roads, and the roads that are there aren't very good. This is a little bit more of a, standard, average, civilized, built-up area. There were highways and roads and railways and whatnot here, and the climate was a lot more temperate. So this is where the Mannerheim line was, on the border with Leningrad. The rules don't specifically state that, but it's up to you whether you want to say it's all borders or with us. I'm leaning towards just leaving it here, but I haven't got a consensus from the group yet. I haven't played a game since I figured this out. All right, so yes, you can attack this location, but you cannot attack Helsinki or Tornio, and Germany agrees not to control or align these. So Germany's basically saying, I'm hands off here. We're going to pretend this never happened unless you declare war on me or I declare a war on you, in which case these would be added to the German income, and any units that happen to be here would become German because they would align due to the fact that they're at war with the country that has attacked them already, being the USSR here in Viperi. All right, and then down here, as I said, you have to move in and attack them, but Germany has to control Warsaw. All right, so that's that section. All right, so, and also, Germany agrees may not attack Romania or Hungary while those countries are neutral. So I'm just going to move this back a little bit here. Romania and Hungary. These are neutral countries that, along with Bulgaria, but this specifically only mentions Romania and Hungary, so the Russians are allowed to attack Bulgaria. But while these countries are neutral, Russia agrees not to attack both Romania and Hungary. Slovakia would have been annexed by the Germans already, which is why it's not mentioned. Because these 3 places, if you're a competent German player, would probably have already been annexed in the first 3 turns. Unless there's some crazy strategy where you don't. But I don't see the economics of how that would be beneficial. All right, so what else do we got here? All right, so you walked in there, you fought these guys, you took that. You fought these guys, you took this. All right, I'm not actually going to roll this. I'm just going to give you an assumption of what could happen. We'll see. But yeah, so these guys get removed from the board. You don't have to fight them from the Baltic states. This guy you got to fight, and these guys you got to fight. And no, you don't get any of those dudes as extras. They don't become yours. It's not an annexation like Slovakia was for Germany. That's where my mistake came in, and I was relying on this sheet, which doesn't have all the information. It's got a brief of the pact, but the actual rules clarifies whether you can attack a place or not. All right, so let's move on to the next section, 3, trade. Germany and USSR agree to mutually beneficial trade. Players do not actually exchange resources. So the Germans don't take $3 out of their account and $5 out of the account and give the Germans 3 and buy them a free tech roll every turn. And the Russians also don't take $5 of their money and give it to the Germans. It's a bonus income. And the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact is an anomaly in the bonus incomes. It is both a wartime or a peacetime income or bonus income. It's additional every turn, provided that the pact is in place, starting July 1939. So diplomatically, it does not matter. So long as Germany and Russia are not at war with each other, this pact will give Russia, if they're collecting the original $8 and they just started rolling up to get more money, they're still going to get 3 free bucks from this pact on top of whatever else they make, and a free tech roll. And Germany, even if they're at war with France or they're at peace with everybody, which you can agree to this pact before you do these attacks, by the way, so provided you feel free to. Germany could say agree with Russia to sign the pact, and then after that do its attacks into Poland and France, or wherever else it decides to attack. But so Germany can collect this money if it's at peace with anybody from this pact, or if it's at war with anybody at all, so long as it's not at war with Russia. It'll still collect the money. So it doesn't matter if it's a full wartime income, which it already starts at, or peacetime income. It's not a increase to your ramping up. It's a sign of additional trade income between the two countries of goods crossing the border, so to speak. All right, that's that part. Now let's go to section 4 on this cheat sheet, which is Basis Nord. Germany may build a submarine base in Murmansk. This base is eliminated immediately if USSR and Germany are at war. It may not be attacked by a nation that is not at war with the USSR. So here, I'm going to move the camera forward a little bit and point her down. So I'm just going to have to stretch here. All right, there we go. Let's show this location here. So Murmansk is here. Russia owns this place. Russia also owns northern Russia. Russia's got a navy base in both. Germany cannot use these navy bases unless they happen to be German. But with this agreement, Russia agrees to allow Germany to build in Murmansk. I'm only putting the roundel there to just signify the base owner, because it's still Russian, in Murmansk. And if they place it in Murmansk, they have two choices. They can either, because it borders 2 sea zones, so they can either put it down here saying, hey, it's in sea zone 6, or they can move it up here and say, hey, it's in sea zone 5. They have to declare which sea zone it's in. Personally, I would do 6, and the next section will explain it quite clearly as to why. All right, so that's what I would do there. Now, I'm just going to move this camera back a little bit and lift her up, because that's too shadowed by my own camera. All right, so now we have the Baltic White Sea Canal. Once per turn, a German submarine may move to Leningrad during non-combat move, and subsequently, with no additional movement required, move from sea zone 16, even if it's at the end of its movement to 16, right? So sea zone 16, you're right here. Germany's got a bunch of subs there, so let's say, or Germany could have built the sub way over here, and it moves 1, 2, and it stops. Or it's over here, 1, 2, 3, it runs out of movement, but it can still move through this Baltic, what is it, the White Sea Baltic Canal up here into Murmansk and northern Russia area in Sea Zone 6. So even if it uses up all its movement and stops here, it can still, one unit per turn, get moved through here on the German turn and placed over here. There you go. And this is a non-combat move. It cannot be a combat move. Northern Sea Route. Germany may move one naval unit per turn via the Northern Sea Route. This unit must begin its non-combat movement in Sea Zone 5 or 6 by expending its entire movement allowance, including naval base bonus, and is then placed in Sea Zone 7. Alright, so this one is pretty self-explanatory, but across the top of the map here, I'm really stretching here, from Sea Zone 5 here, or 6, regardless of any bonus from the base, doesn't matter. You have to start in 5 or 6. One naval unit, it doesn't matter which kind, it doesn't have to be a sub, could be a battleship or a carrier even, gets to move all the way across the top of the map here from Russia and place itself here in Sea Zone 7. And that's one unit per turn in non-combat only. So if Germany decides to, I don't know why they would, maybe they have some crazy naval plan where they're going to come help the Japanese and they just start dropping carriers and battleships and subs and whatnot across the way. Could also be a loaded transport. You never know. So, if, you know, never know. The options are endless in this game sometimes. Okay, so that's that. Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. And this pact may be terminated. Either player may declare the pact nullified at any point in time by renouncing it. Once nullification, the pact may not be signed again. Or sorry, once nullified, the pact may not be signed again and all provisions end. At the end of the provisions, one of the things that will happen is Germany is no longer allowed to move a sub through here per turn. Unless Russia decides to, but that's up to Russia, right? But this pact agrees that Russia will allow Germany to move a naval unit through here every turn if they wish, and across the way every turn if they wish. So this sub base here gets eliminated, and Germany is free to align these, either align them or either control them or align them. And put German units here to replace whatever happens to be there if the pact is ended, or they declare war on each other, which would also end the pact. Alright, so let's go on to the Russian Guards. So hopefully that answers your question on the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, and I'm going to move on to the Russian Guards. So you roll a d12 for every unit you lose in a combat that you won. I know that sounds crazy. Where did all my dice go? That's right, I'm playing Global War, so we're 1940 global. So let's say you attack these 3 dudes and you kill them all with this stack of stuff. But let's say they get 3 shots back at you because the fort's got 2 shots, so that's 5 shots at 5. Odds are there's a fairly substantial chance they're probably going to get either 2 or 3 shots on you. So you lose 3. Let's say you lose 2. Let's see, you lose 3 guys, right? So now you have the option. Let's say you lose some of this stuff. I know it's kind of unrealistic, but yeah, you lose 3. So for each, but you won. Right, you won the battle. Either you forced them to retreat, you took over the territory, or they attacked you and wiped themselves out. Either one, it doesn't matter. If that happens, you as Russia have the ability to roll for Russian Guards. Now, this only applies to infantry. So surviving infantry, you're only allowed to roll once for each one, and you got to roll a d12. And you got to get a 12 to upgrade one of these to elite. So you got a 1 in 12 chance, 7. Okay, you rolled for one of these dead guys on these guys that are still living, and you failed. So now you only got one guy left to do. That one's, you failed again. But let's say you didn't fail on one of these two. If that's the case, then one of these becomes a guards or elite infantry. I use the yellow chip to show elites, but you can use whatever you wish. So now this infantry is still going to have the same movement, and it didn't cost you any money except for a few dead troops, but that unit is now a guards unit, so it has a +1 attack and +1 defense. So instead of attacking at 2, it attacks at 3, and instead of defending at 4, it defends at 5. Now, it's still going to have its move of 1. It's the same as in regular infantry for all purposes of transportation, movement, rail lines, transports. It's not a marine. It's not an airborne, right? It's not a mountain. So, but it does have the same stats as the elite marines that the Americans and the Japanese have available on their build chart. So there you go. So you lost a bunch of guys, the unit got eliminated, and say the survivors from a couple of units get clumped together, and ooh, look at that, you got a veteran unit or a guard unit. So there's a deal there. All right. Now, same thing down here. You've got this fight here. Let's say it's a 1-on-1 loss. There you go. So you lost one guy, but you took the territory. So you won. But you did have one loss. So you take your 1 dice. Look at that. She's a 12. Odds are it's probably not going to be. Same thing applies. You have yourself an elite. But if you get anything but a 12, nothing happens. And like I said, it doesn't matter how many guys you lost. You can only roll once per unit per turn. And it has to be a guy that was lost in the battle that this guy survived. And it's only infantry. Russian Guards infantry. It's rather specific. All right, so there's that. And I think that covers those. If you need any more clarification or there's any questions from any of my other videos, feel free, let me know. I am not afraid to admit I made a mistake and find the answer and put it out for you. All right, so thank you very much. And I keep losing this. My phone keeps locking up here, so thank you very much to Chris Atkins for his comment on Russian Guards, reminding me I had to get that done. And Elwood Bergden, thank you very much for your comments on the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. It forced me to go out there and hunt for the answer. That way I had it correct, instead of, being lazy and not looking it up before I made my video to make sure I had it right. Anyway, thank you very much, and hopefully this answers any questions and clarifies any issues that may have come up in this video or my previous videos. She's summer, plus 30 right now in Celsius. It certainly beats the minus 30 Celsius we were getting in January or so. So I'm going to shut her down here since my cat's hopping on my table. And leave you at that. It's summer, as I said, so I'm going to be a little less frequent on the videos. I only get 5 months of this where it gets warm and there's no snow on the ground, so taking advantage of it. But I'll still be putting them out. Thank you, and see you later.